This is New Patreon Series 79. Is this an authentic saying? The first shall be last and the last shall be first. Where does this saying appear? In Matthew 20:16, so the last shall be first and the first last, for many may be called, but few chosen. But we find it in the Gospel of Thomas, Logian 4b, for many who are first will become last, and they will become one and the same, or a single one. However, the similar phrases occur in two completely different contexts. In Matthew, the context is with the parable of the householder. In the Gospel of Thomas, it's within a logion about the wise seeking knowledge from a small child instead of a Jewish sage. This is evidence that the phrase was known in Jesus' tradition before Paul, about AD 40. There's another occurrence in Matthew 19:16-30, and everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or father or mother or children or lands for my name's sake will receive 100-fold and will inherit eternal life. But many who are first will be last and the last first. Here the statement occurs in a separate context in which a rich young ruler who wishes to follow Jesus is unwilling to donate his wealth to support the poor. And there's another occurrence in Luke. As Christ and the disciples journeyed toward Jerusalem before Christ's triumphal entry, an unnamed person in the crowd asking in response to Christ's teaching said, "Lord, are there few who are saved?" And Jesus responded, "Make every effort to enter through the narrow door, because many, I tell you, will try to enter and will not be able to. Indeed, there are those who are last who will be first, and first who will be last." We find this in Luke 13:24-30. So the context is narrow or straight is the gate. It's parallel to Matthew 7:13-14. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be that go in thereat. Because the strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. So that is evidence that this was preserved in Q, because it's both in Matthew and in Luke, and in almost exactly the same way. So what do modern scholars think? Well, most modern scholars don't dispute the fact that this is historically a saying of Jesus. In the Gospel of Thomas and the Historical Jesus, Jennifer Labrenz of Wesleyan University points out the following things. She points out that chiasmus, which is in the phrase, indicates authenticity, as in the last will be first and the first will be last. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted. The one wishing to find his life will lose it, but the one losing his life will find it. 5 people will be in a house. There will be 3 against 2, and 2 against 3, father against son, son against father. And each saying in this group is marked by chiastic structure, that is a reversal of word order and 2 parallel phrases. It gets its name from the shape of the Greek letter chi, last first, first last. And this crisscrossing of words is a common literary device, but it makes a particular saying more easily remembered. And thus these sayings, because of their structure, probably represent some of the most accurately transmitted words of Jesus. In addition, all 4 sayings of this group are multiply attested, and the Croissant places them in the first stratum, which he dates to 30 to 60 CE, and this is what a chiasmus looks like. The one wishing to find his life will lose it, but the one losing his life will find it, etc. It's called a chiasm. So how did Yeshua use this phrase? He seems to have used it as a kind of summary or closer for various parables or sayings about the reversals of position that are coming in God's advent. His parables and logia usually focus on the elevation of the humble and fall of the rich and powerful, such as the rich man and Lazarus, or the sheep and the goats, and comparable ones. So here's the evidence for authenticity. There's multiple attribution. Many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first, is found in Matthew and Mark and Luke. Chiasmus dates from the earliest oral period, and because it's a chiasm, that means that it was transmitted orally easily. It appears in multiple contexts, but never with the same meanings. It appears in different orders, which is also evidence for orality. So the last shall be first, and the first last, but many shall be called, but few chosen. We find this in Matthew, as opposed to many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Please click on the Patreon link in the description just below the video to become a patron, helping to sponsor my new videos on the pre-Christian teachings of Yeshua. Thank you very much.